Yield back.
The gentleman yields. I now recognize Mr. Goldman, the gentleman from New York, for his 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I agree. I'm encouraged by the bipartisan nature of this hearing on what is increasingly an important and dangerous threat to our homeland and our security. In the past, though, it has not been as bipartisan. And in fact, in September of 2023, more than 100 House Republicans, including the chairman, tried to slash CISA's budget by $3 billion, which was 25% of the budget. Now, this is because many Republicans did not like the fact that CISA, the CISA head at the time, said that the 2020 election was not stolen, and, quote, "There is no evidence that any voting system deleted or lost votes, changed votes, or was in any way compromised." That CISA director was Chris Krebs, who was then immediately fired by Donald Trump. And Mr. Wales, you took over. Mr. Wales, do you agree with Mr. Krebs' statement that there is no evidence that any voting system deleted or lost votes, changed votes, or was in any way compromised, and that the 2020 election was free and fair?
Yes.
So part of the problem here is that even though CISA's misinformation and disinformation activities represent less than 0.1% of its budget, Republicans have tried to cut 25% of the budget, and Governor Noem has made it clear in her hearing that she would like to limit and reduce the size of and role of CISA, which seems odd in this time when all we are hearing from our witnesses here is the increasing danger of cyber attacks and cyber infiltration exacerbated by artificial intelligence. We know Russia used cyber warfare to interfere in our 2016 election. We know China has tried to do the same, but it's not a partisan issue because Iran tried to do the same thing by infiltrating Donald Trump's campaign. And it is bewildering to me that given the CrowdStrike disaster with the outage, which dramatically affected my district, with the Microsoft hacking that gave China access to senior government officials' information, that we would be reducing the budget to address our cybersecurity. One thing I want to address, Mr. Wales, I'll ask you first, is what would the impact of reducing CISA's budget or reducing the size of CISA be, both in terms of our broader cybersecurity and infrastructure security, as the Rear Admiral has talked about, as well as election integrity and preventing foreign influence in our elections?
A lot would depend upon how that cut was allocated, but broadly, it would dramatically limit the ability of the agency to conduct critical missions. So that would include its ability to provide technical support to critical infrastructure and state and local governments who request assistance with actual cyber incidents or conducting pre-incident assessments of their vulnerabilities so they can be hardened. It would compromise its ability to perform its functions across the federal networks in terms of both monitoring and responding to incidents, deploying technology to ensure that federal networks are protected by best-in-breed technology platforms. But just across the board, it would lessen its ability to respond at a time of significant cyber threats as has been described today.
And in terms of the election integrity work that CISA does, is it accurate that that is primarily focused on foreign actors and foreign interference?
On Almost all of CISA's work when it comes to elections is actually focused on cyber and physical security related work, providing assistance to state and local governments who need assistance, who request vulnerability assessments, scanning for vulnerabilities, conducting training, doing physical security assessments, increasingly as state and local election officials are concerned about physical security threats that they may face. That is almost the entirety of the election security work. So any cuts to the CISA budget would affect its ability to support those officials.
And CISA is the only the only department within any executive branch agency that provides that cybersecurity service to state and local officials who administer our elections. Is that right?
Yes.
Thank you, and I thank you, Chairman. I yield back.
Gentleman yields. I